Welcome to the next episode of the Dark Web Deacon. So let's check our secure connections, adjust our hoodies, and as always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Over the last several weeks, you may have come across some news stories or social media posts discussing how cyber criminals are now leveraging AI voice cloning technology in order to scam victims. They're doing this by taking a sample of a friend or family member's voice, running it through this AI cloning technology in order to create a voice clone that they could use to say pretty much anything. So I've been curious to see, how good is the quality of this voice cloning technology? How easy is it to clone someone's voice? And where does this all potentially go in the near future? And that's what we're going to discuss in today's episode. The only ingredients that are needed by a cyber criminal to pull off this type of scam is a voice sample of a friend or family member that can usually be found on the internet. And then, of course, the voice cloning software. For today's episode, we're going to be leveraging 11 Labs in order to create a synthetic version of my voice. 11 Labs has a number of different products that are available in order to synthesize and create voices. What I'm going to be leveraging is their generative voice AI product, which allows for cloning of voices, because that is what the scammers are going to use. I actually signed up for the $22 a month creator package. The reason for this is there's actually two types of cloning options that are available. There's kind of an instant cloning that the software makes readily available, and there is a professional voice cloning capability that's a little more intensive and is supposed to create a very, very accurate product. So I wanted to actually play with both of those. So once I create an account, I go to the Voice Lab setup and click on Add Generative or Cloned Voice. From there, it gives me several options, voice designs, a voice library. The two pieces, as I mentioned, we're interested in is the instant voice cloning, which again, that is available in the free option. They also have a professional voice cloning that does require, again, you have to pay for the subscription, and there is an authentication piece as part of the voice cloning process. So first, we are going to look at the instant voice cloning. In order to do instant voice cloning, it's pretty simple and straightforward. You basically upload a sample of your voice, preferably at least 5 minutes of very clear audio. And that's it. It takes a few seconds for the voice generation, so not long at all. And there is some ability to make some modifications in terms of stability is one variable, and clarity and similarity enhancement is another. And I'll talk about these briefly in a second. But after you basically have your voice uploaded, sample created, you can basically enter anything within the text screen, and it will generate a voice sample accordingly. So the first voice cloned message is going to be around this text below, saying, "Hello, this is a critical message from the Dark Web Deacon," etc., etc. Now, the stability, clarity, and similarity enhancements. Basically, if the stability bar is on the lower side, this can increase the overall expressiveness of the voice, but it may make it sound a little less authentic. The higher on the stability scale you get, it will make the voice more consistent with regenerations, but it can also make the voice sound a little bit monotone. With clarity and similarity enhancements, if it's on the low end, it is recommended if you have a lot of background artifacts that are presented in the speech. But if you have a very clear voice sample you're using as part of your clone message, you can bump this up. And when you increase this and make this on the higher end, the enhancement boosts overall voice clarity and targets speaker similarity. So very high values can cause artifacts if it's too high, depending on the voice sample. So adjusting this right now, I'm keeping it at about 80% for clarity and similarity, and stability around 70%. So what I am about to play next is a voice clone of the Dark Web Deacon based on a 5-minute sample of my voice.
Hello, this is a critical message from the Dark Web Deacon. This is actually not the real me, but an AI-generated version of my voice. With this technology, a scammer could call you in the future and pretend to be someone you love in order to extort money out of you. Let the AI dystopia begin.
So that's pretty impressive. But you may say, Dark Web Deacon, it's not necessarily easy to get a 5-minute sample of somebody's voice. And that could be true. And also, a lot of the media articles around this topic have claimed that all it takes is a few seconds sample of somebody's voice in order to create one of these clones. So next up is the same exact cloned message, but this time using just a 10-second sample of my voice.
Hello, this is a critical message from the Dark Web Deacon. This is actually not the real me, but an AI-generated version of my voice. With this technology, a scammer could call you in the future and pretend to be someone you love in order to extort money out of you. Let the AI dystopia begin.
So that output is also pretty impressive, and I didn't change any of the stability or clarity variables. Those remain the same. So the news articles are accurate that with only a few seconds sample of someone's voice, it is possible to create an AI-generated clone. Next up, let's synthesize the same message using that 5-minute sample of my voice, but this time we're going to lower the stability and lower the clarity variables to about 20%. And here's what we get.
Hello, this is a critical message from the Dark Web Deacon. This is actually not the real me, but an AI-generated version of my voice. With this technology, a scammer could call you in the future and pretend to be someone you love in order to extort money out of you. Let the AI dystopia begin.
So in my opinion, this definitely doesn't quite sound like me. It's a little more frantic and upbeat in some of the tones. So if I were to hear this, I would definitely be able to recognize, and I think family members of mine, that this is not quite me. So these variables are important in order to try to find that sweet spot in terms of voice quality. So we definitely have established that the instant voice cloning is pretty impressive, and definitely I think gets the job done, and would work in any type of scamming scenario. Unfortunately, the professional voice cloning service does take a few months for them to get back to you with a final model. So I won't be able to, in this video, accurately compare and contrast the instant voice cloning technology with their professional voice cloning technology. So stay tuned to a future video for that comparison. However, I will quickly go over what you need to do in order to submit the proper data for them to start that process in order to create a professional voice clone of yourself. And so with this one, when you select voice cloning, it's a very similar input box, but this time it does ask for at least 30 minutes of speaker data for training, with 3 hours being optimal. And so I did end up uploading exactly 3 hours of fairly clear voice samples from my various Dark Web Deacon videos. Once the upload completes, it asks you to start the verification process. And with that verification process, it will post a statement on the screen that you will speak. It's a short sentence in order to verify that, okay, the voice samples you uploaded is within some error rate accurate, and we believe that the person speaking and using our software is the same voices that were uploaded for our voice cloning process. And then once that's complete, it's going to go off and go into a fine-tuning request queue. It has said that this is a beta service right now, and this process could take several months, and they will get back to me with a much more accurate and a fully professional voice cloning model that I can use in the future. So stay tuned for a future video on how accurate the voice cloning technology is compared to, in my view, the instant one, which takes merely a few minutes. So where do we go from here? Are we really at a point in society where parents cannot trust the voice of their own children who may be calling them from college and are asking for money? Or a husband or wife calling their spouse after their car is broken down, again, asking them for some assistance? Or at a point where the doctor who's giving you a ring and asking for some personal medical information about an upcoming appointment, you necessarily may not know it's them. I think the answer is yes, we are there. So how do we protect ourselves from the potential increase and onslaught of cyber criminals leveraging this type of AI-generated voice cloning technology in order to scam us over the phone? Well, there are a few things you can do. Number one is look at the phone number of the individual that's calling you. If this phone number is not in your contact list and it's not directly associated with the voice you're hearing on the other line, whether it be your family member, a friend, or a medical professional, that is a definite red flag, even if the voice sounds perfect. Number two, and this may sound a little bit extreme, but for those individuals who you would wire money to in an emergency, have some type of code word that you both agree on beforehand, so that they do call you, whether it be from their phone or for some other phone, they would use that code word so that you would know that it is definitely them. Tip number three, with this technology out there, I definitely see an increase in the number of scammers just randomly calling individuals in order to obtain a voice sample that they could potentially use for a future scam phone call attack against one of your friends or family members. So if you do receive a call from someone you don't know, don't just immediately say, hello, how are you, or who is this? Because that is kind of all they need in terms of a voice sample to potentially synthesize your voice. So wait for some type of initial response by them at the very least before you engage in conversation. That's all for this episode, and thanks again for watching. The real Dark Web Deacon signing off. Or is it? Check out the Dark Web Deacon merch store. We have high-quality t-shirts, accessories, and signature hoodies, of course, and become a true Dark Web enthusiast in VIP. New videos are published every Monday and Thursday.